What's this feeling? What's this feeling I've got now? Happiness. Well, more. Is it happiness or is it relief? Frankly, I don't care which one it is. I'm feeling both. All right. It's about time that we are able to actually celebrate a decent win, a very good win actually, as Manchester United fans, but also 3 non-losses on the bounce. I mean, we're 3 games unbeaten, 2 wins in the Europa League. Very dodgy game in the league to kind of sandwich in between that, or was the Wolves game in between? I don't care. They all get merged into one. But frankly, having that in the Europa League is massive because we know that's where our big focus is going, and it's a good time at the minute. So that's a really good result to take, which we're going to dissect a bit more. But before we get into that, drop a like on the video if you're enjoying what we're doing on this channel. And if you are new here, this is the non-toxic Manchester United football channel. So I'm trying to build the kind of most holistic and valuable place for Manchester United fans to come and just calmly talk about the football club, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of reasons, frankly, to be angry, to be annoyed, to lose faith and to lose focus. But we can criticize, we can critique, but we're going to do it in a way that's not detrimental to the football club, in my opinion. So if you want to join that community, all you got to do is subscribe, like the video, and share it with people who you think would value most from it as well. Now, what a game. I mean, when I say what a game, I want to say what a result, because frankly, as the game went on, which we did on a watch along as well, as the game went on for the first 20 to 30 minutes, I thought this could end up pretty badly if we don't get hold of things here, because I don't think that we were particularly good. I don't really think that Bilbao were particularly very good. I just thought it was one of those games where you could get overawed by the occasion, and the first goal was always going to be massive. Either we shut them up or they're going to get louder and louder. Thankfully, it was us, with good work from Harry Maguire, great work from Ugarte and Casemiro, and there's a few players in the team that I want to highlight, to be honest. We'll talk about the game overall, and I'll talk about these players, and also looking forward to the next game. Now, the game as a whole, 3-0, winning on every single stat and things like that. It was a very positive performance for Ruben Amorim. To get a clean sheet away from home in Europe was positive for the goalkeeper, the defense, as well as the manager. And everyone can be pretty proud of how they played. I can't say that anyone played particularly badly. I think there were some good standout performances in there. But if you'd have said to me, regardless of how long we were 3-0 up ahead and we didn't capitalize even further, if you said to me that we end up going 3-0 into the second leg at home, I would have absolutely bitten your hand off, and I still feel that same way today. So it was a very good performance, very good result from us. I did feel that there were some decisions that went our way. I'll be honest. I want to be honest, because I just think if I was a Bilbao supporter, obviously I'm not, so who cares? But if I was a Bilbao supporter and some of those decisions went against us, I'd be very upset. And, you know, the Hojlund penalty is obviously where the game took a massive turn. We were already 1-0 up at that point, and we were in the ascendancy. We just kept coming on to them. And I think we would have scored anyway. But the kind of discourse online is that, you know, the inconsistencies of referees and all this sort of stuff. And what I'll say to that, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. I think there is massive inconsistencies with referees. And in that particular situation, the defender doesn't go to play the ball. He goes to play the man. And he's probably looking to just shepherd Hojlund away from it and block his path a little bit without being viewed as obstruction, which it ultimately was. Now, I don't think that a man as big as Hojlund should be going down like that in any sort of circumstance. And if he wanted to stay up, he could have done. I think he could have got on the end of that if he really wanted to. He made the most of it. And in the eyes of the law, it's a foul and it's a penalty. And because there was no attempt to play the ball, double jeopardy doesn't come involved. And it is a denial of a goal scoring opportunity in an illegal fashion. And it's a red card. So all of that makes me think, at the time I thought it was soft, and still I think we were a bit lucky that it was soft. But the only thing that I think we were lucky about in that scenario, and the reason I use the word lucky, is because to say that the referee made a substantial error and then get VAR to intervene, I think that's pretty massive. Like, had it just been a red card and he'd given it on the pitch as a red card and a penalty, I don't think VAR would come in and take it out at the same time. So to see it go the other way through VAR, to say it was a substantial, clear and obvious error, I think we were quite lucky for it to go that way. But for it to be a red card in the circumstances with the laws of the game isn't out the realms of possibility. We're just lucky that it was on our side this time. And I could easily have been sat here talking about whether it was a penalty or not. That's why it was on a knife edge, and the knife edge went into our favour for once. Because, I think we had a penalty that was given against us for Real Sociedad with De Ligt, which I thought was pathetic. I think Leon got a good rub of the green, and I think we got a good rub of the green. And should Maguire have been sent off late on, like 50 minutes in, I think he was a bit lucky there. Because I think there was just as much contact on Maguire on their striker as there was their defender on Hojlund. That's why I look at it and think, okay, maybe we got away with it a bit there. But ultimately, their player threw themselves to the ground. There was no kind of double jeopardy in that scenario, and we got away with it there. So I'm just being honest. If I was a Bilbao fan, I'd be pretty annoyed about how that whole thing went. But I'm not. I'm a Man United fan, so I'm happy with how it went, frankly. And we can now take a substantial advantage into the second leg of this tie. But there's a few players that I really want to talk about that have massively impressed me in that game, and that I think there's a bit of a narrative that's being developed, and we need to talk about them more. The first one, Leny Yoro. I mean, how often did we hear at the time that we overpaid and we just tried to steal him from Real Madrid and all this? Frankly, we've seen with the Mbappe situation and most players that they want, if Real Madrid want you, you go. You wait and you go. That's how they are. They are, to me, Man United are the biggest club in the world, but if I use my head, Real Madrid are the biggest club in the world. And if they want someone, they go and get them. That is how the football ecosystem works. And Leny Yoro, being an 18-year-old at the time, Frenchman who could have linked up with Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Mbappe, obviously, he chose us. And I'm very glad he did, because he had a bit of a stuttering start to his United career where he had the injury in pre-season, a very poor game against Southampton, which keeps getting picked apart, but he's just come on leaps and bounds ever since then. He scored his first goal. He's got a few clean sheets under his belt, and he's been brilliant. And I don't feel scared when he's on the ball or when he's the one in the defence. I'm actually quite happy that he's there. So Leny Yoro has been doing brilliantly, and I think he's a vital cog in the jigsaw that is the Man United future under this regime. And very good signing, and one of the best that we've made in the summer. To be honest, I don't think we made many bad signings in this particular summer. I think it's been quite strong. So that's really nice to see. I'm going to give it to Ugarte as well. Ugarte, he's made like 2 big chances and 2 assists in the game yesterday. A little flick on for Bruno. I actually thought he started the game pretty poorly. Amorim himself said, even with his experience, he struggled to get out of the crowd and, get his head in the game. But he did really, really well to finish the game on a high, and he's going to be massive for the rest of our European journey. And Bruno Fernandes. All right, there's 2 more players after this that I'll go in a bit deeper, but Bruno Fernandes, how often does this guy always try and do something to affect the game? That is when I look at the quality of Bruno and I'm thinking, mate, you're always available and you're always accountable to everything. Good times and the bad. You're always there. And when he got the captaincy, I wasn't sure. I genuinely wasn't. I thought he was too whiny. I thought he'd be a bit too petulant. He started off like that, but I think he's grown in maturity as his game has aged, and he is in his prime years, and he's dedicated the best of himself to the worst times of Manchester United, and we should really be thankful to him for that, because everything that we've had in that time, we've won things during that time, even though like our worst time are other people's best times, like good clubs' best times. But Bruno Fernandes, without him, we don't get any of that. So he's one of those players where I just think there's football fans have a tendency to only remember players when they're gone. I'm not doing that. Like Bruno, I'm going to appreciate every single second while he's a Man United fan. Not blindly. If he makes mistakes, I'll say it. But just how he has been lately and how he has really got us out the doldrums at times, I'm very thankful that we have Bruno Fernandes. He's our best player. There's no doubt about that. Ahmad is back as well, which is really nice to see, as is Matthias de Ligt. So they're going to be pivotal in the next few games in Europe. But there's 2 players that stand out for me. The first one, I got to hand it to Casemiro, man. I got to hand it to him because I thought his career was up. We all bought into this when leave the football before the football leaves you sort of thing, which I think Jamie Carragher was negligent in saying. I think there's no real need to say something like that to a player that has won about 5 times or 10 times more than you have, and also to a player that is clearly struggling. There's no need. I think there is a bit of a thing with pundits now where it's all about sensationalist titles. Like we've kind of gone away from newspapers doing that, and it's gone into the newer forms of media with socials where these pundits aren't just pundits anymore. They are personalities. You watch something to hear what Gary Neville has to say, or Jamie Carragher, Michael Richards, or Thierry Henry. And when they say certain things, it will gather traction. And I'm not saying that they are being told behind the scenes to say certain things for that reason, but they know the impact of what they're saying. And they also know the impact of what they're saying, what that can have on a footballer, because they've been in that situation themselves. So I do think there is a bit more of a duty of care that these pundits need to have towards players. I'm not saying that they can't criticize, like we're all criticizing. I'm just as much, we're all part of this ecosystem where we have to all be accountable to that. And when we make mistakes, we have to say that we've made a mistake. Like, I remember Paul Scholes kind of shied away from it when De Ligt was playing well, when he was all in on him saying he wouldn't be good enough. No, you got to use the same energy. And I think Carragher has to use the same energy now, because I think what he said was right in terms of the league. I don't think he's quick enough and mentally mature enough in his game in order to be relied upon in the Premier League, but he's been brilliant in Europe. We don't win against Lyon without him. I don't necessarily think that we win against Bilbao without him, because he snuffed out everything that they had, tried to come back with us, and he's been leading the team, and he's done really, really well. So fair play to Casemiro, because I myself thought that his time was done. I didn't really want to see him play for us anymore because of how he had been playing, but he's gotten himself into shape mentally and physically. And you got to also commend the manager on that, because every single person that I see online talking about the manager, the way he's dealt with Rashford or Anthony or any of these other players, they always use the term arrogance, or that he's stubborn and he only has one way of playing, yada, yada, yada. First of all, it's not as if he's playing a rigid 4-4-2 and that's the only way you can play. He's playing one of the most diverse systems in world football that caters to whoever's in there. Like, the midfield of Kobe and Ugarte will play differently to Cassie and Ugarte, and it depends on the nature of the game and the way it's ebbing and flowing. But with Casemiro, he kind of set his stall out and say, look, you have to, and I think he's done this with all the players. That's what it kind of proves to me. Like, he's probably said to the likes of Cassie and Rashi and Anthony, like, this is the level. If you don't reach that level, you're not going to play. And I know this is the level. We're 14th in the league. I understand all of that. But somehow we're playing better football, and we're a lot not better football, but we're a lot more compact. We're a lot harder to beat than how we have been previously under Ten Hag, whatever. But we're just not getting the results, and the results have taken us to where we are, because we should have beaten Wolves, we should have beaten Arsenal. There's loads of teams we should have beaten. The only time we've been comprehensively beaten was Newcastle, but the other times it was on a knife edge that didn't go our way. So I'm back in Ruben Amorim and how he's dealing with these players, and I like that someone like Casemiro, who is the elder statesman, who has I don't think he should really, but he has every right to say, I've won this, I've won that. Like, you don't tell me what to do. Kind of like Ronaldo and Ten Hag, maybe. But he hasn't done that. He's got his head down. He's worked hard. And Amorim has recognised that and has played him. Like, he started off the first, I think, 12 games. He played like 97 minutes under Amorim. And now he's played most games since then. And fair play to him. I think Casemiro's done really, really well. I still don't think he's good enough for the league, which is why in the summer we do have to move on. You can't have a player that on that much money be that much of a liability in the grandest competition that you're in, for the majority of the year, purely for Europe, So I do think we do need to move on from him and move on well. Get him off the wage bill. That'll bring in a lot of money to spend on wages. And there's a few players available for free that we could either pad the squad out with or get someone as a direct replacement. But either way, Casemiro's playing well, and I'm really surprised at how well he's playing, and that is testament to him and the manager, who's recognised that, gone back on his original statements, admitted that he's had his head changed by the players' acumen and by his dedication to the craft, and he's given him the opportunity. And no other player really deserves more praise in that sort of way than who I'm about to say next. And I think I have to start this off by saying, Harry Maguire, I'm sorry. Because I started this channel to be accountable to everything I say, whether it was right or wrong. I don't like the idea that just because I'm a fan, I'm entitled to think a certain way and then just kind of go with the tides of how things are going. Just be happy when things are going on and be sad when things aren't going right. I said things when things weren't going right, that now that things have changed, I should be just as fervent about what I was saying at that time, but take it in a different light when things have changed and recognize when that's happening. So I'm going to do that right now, because Harry Maguire, I think, is one of the best examples in world football at the minute in terms of the mental resilience you need in order to be successful nowadays, because social media is everywhere. Look, I'm on it. I use social media as a medium to get my opinions across. And depending on what I say and how algorithms take it, I could have just as much, and anyone could have just as much of a voice as the people you see on TV. That's the world we're living in now. So when Harry Maguire was poor, I made it pretty clear that I didn't want him at Manchester United. I didn't think he was good enough. I didn't think he had the mentality to do it. And I jumped on the bandwagon. I did, with the memes and with the jokes and all that. And that's not something that I'm proud of. It's not something that I want to do moving forward, which is why I've kind of reassessed what this channel is about and what I'm about as a person or a content creator about Manchester United and football in general. Because Harry Maguire, I did not expect you to go from, you know, being stripped of the captaincy, that thing in Mykonos, and like everyone coming in on you from a club and a country point of view, to all of a sudden shifting that around and being a key player in the moments where we've needed you, particularly in Europe. And he's showing a level of confidence and a level of resilience, like I say, to put so much to the side and just enjoy everything. And even when you saw after the game against Bilbao, the commentary or the interviewer who's talking to him is trying to say, look what they're talking about you on social media. Look, they love you now. And he's keeping calm, probably because he knows the way that things could have been and the way that he's probably thinking the way things have been before and the way things are now. He knows the ebbs and the flows. So he's keeping pretty level with it, which I respect. But ultimately, I absolutely did jump on the bandwagon with everything. And I don't want to be that kind of creator. And it was a while ago, obviously, and things have changed since then. But I started this channel to be accountable to that, and I'm going to be accountable to that. And I'm not saying that Harry Maguire is the player to take us forward into this new era. In fact, I still don't think he is. I think there is a level of profile that Ruben Amorim needs, but Harry Maguire can do a job, and he's done very well in that role under Ruben Amorim, especially in the last few weeks. And it's weird to look at any player at the minute and say, you've been amazing, while the club sits where it is in the Premier League. We're still unbeaten in Europe, the only unbeaten team in Europe. And I'm not entirely sure how that has happened, but without players like Harry Maguire, it couldn't have happened. And that says a lot about him. And I think he's been really good, really strong. And it's honestly a testament to him, and it's a testament to the mental toughness that you need to be a footballer nowadays, because they all have a phone. They'll all see what's being said about them, and that's difficult to not get through and to not penetrate your psyche and to affect how you are as a footballer. And for a time, it probably did. But to come out the other side, shining and holding your hands aloft as the fans kind of collectively accept the wrongdoing in their criticism, and also to support you and where you're going forward, that's a massive statement from Harry Maguire, and I think he should be very proud of himself. And look, we're at a stage now, like I say, we're 3-0 up in the tie. I'm not looking forward to a final. I'm not looking forward to anything, because we all know how things can happen at Old Trafford, where let's just close our eyes and picture a world where we go into the game at Old Trafford and they get an early goal. Very conceivable that could happen, especially this season. What happens then? Then it's only a 2-0, 2-0 deficit. And I still, even though the Lyon game was brilliant, there were 4 unanswered goals from Lyon at Old Trafford against Manchester United, which, we came back and scored 3 unanswered goals. 4 unanswered goals, though, in that time. 2 of them with 10 men. We can collapse. This team can still quite conceivably collapse. So stay strong, stay focused. And I think Scholesy said it at the end of the game on TNT, just keep the ball away from them. Don't do anything stupid and make it a terrible game. I don't want to be entertained. I want to be bored. Bore the hell out of me and get a 0-0. I don't care. But if we can keep a clean sheet at Old Trafford and take that forward into the final, that would be insane. Because then if we do that, we will be unbeaten if we go on to win the Europa League. Do you know what I mean? And no matter what you say about the season, that's still a massive calling card for players to come in the summer. Amorim knows that. The team know it. We have to win it. And let's just hope that we can continue the good form against Bilbao. And now with Ahmad and De Ligt back, I'm pretty confident that we will be fine. But we can't let anything slip. And we can't let any sort of external factors come into what should be an open and shut case with the game at Old Trafford. But we have to be humble. We have to be serious about what's going on. Keep your head focused and let's bring it home. So that's me done for today. That's probably the most, like, I feel like that video flowed quite nicely because I had a lot to say. I feel like I said it well. But drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and let me know what you thought about the game and what you're thinking about the second leg in the comments below. And subscribe, of course. We're nearly at 3,500. I think we want to hit 5k by the end of the season. That would be great. Maybe 10k by the end of the summer, and then 15 million by Christmas. So make sure you drop a follow, subscribe where you can. All my links to my socials on TikTok, Instagram, they're all in the links below. We're trying to just make this the biggest community of Man United fans online. We've got, a long way to get to where we want to be, but we've got a lot of people involved, and thank you so much for the support. And yeah, let's just hope that we can keep the good times going. Bring on the second leg.